And take two. Welcome back to the Good Grief Pod. We think it's episode 22. We just started to record for about 3 minutes and then realised that I wasn't even recording on my mic. Haven't got Jam here today and the place is falling apart, to be honest.
Technical difficulties galore. But the main thing is we talk about grief. Yeah. And if you can't see us, then at least you can hear us, which is normally the case, to be fair with us. But yeah, we were going to do a chat.
We were going to do a chat.
What's really funny is we've just said all this because we obviously thought we were recording. Going to have a chat. Maz was obviously, guys, you should have heard what we didn't record, that she's got a big milestone coming up, the 1 year passing of her dad. So we're just going to talk about life leading up to that and how life has been for both of us for the past, I guess 2 weeks since we sat down and had a proper chat.
Last time was Hannah, so I feel like I haven't caught up with you. Well, I haven't seen you in a month.
Yeah, we only speak on camera. We don't. But first of all, I want to give a shout out to Hannah because I thought it was such an incredible episode and such, honestly, a lovely woman and so much strength and humour and a brilliant app and a brilliant guest. So
thanks,
big
Hannah.
up, Hannah.
Pat on the back if you're watching. I'm sure she is.
Do
you want to start? Like, you've had a tough
week,
haven't you?
I headed over to Maz's was it last Wednesday?
Yeah.
And I was just in a state, we were meant to record Good Grief then, and for some reason I've just been really feeling sad about my dad passing away, and that sounds really weird because it's dad passing away, it's not exactly a happy time. But it happened 6 years ago, 6 years in January obviously, and it just, I don't know, it just beat me while I was down, I suppose. And it got to a point where obviously, Maz knows me, you guys kind of know me from what I talk about, but I'm not really a massive talker. I talk, but not about the right things. So I think we both sort of acknowledged that it was I just felt like a different person after I'd spoken. And to echo what Hannah said last week on the pod, it is so important to talk. Because, me and Maz are best mates and we talk about everything all the time. But for some reason, I struggle to talk to anyone about grief because everyone's different, aren't they? And I really struggle. I feel like I trigger myself in a way because I hate being sad. So I felt brave. I feel proud of myself for coming over and dealing with it in a sensible, logical way. Rather than what I'd normally do is just try and suppress it and move on and never speak about it again. But we had a nice chat and a few tears, and I just felt really good at the end of it. And to be honest, it really did help me turn over a page because I think I was really stuck when I came over. I was really I was panicking that I hadn't felt right for a long time, and I was actually it is okay. It really is. And
absolutely.
I just wanted to be vulnerable because I think we need to practice what we preach. And we always say to you guys, it's so important to talk and listen to people that need it. Because sometimes people don't even need advice or guidance. It's just someone that will listen to you when you feel like you're so vulnerable and in such a unique situation. You can't speak to everyone about it, So tale of the day, tip of the day, talk.
Yeah. I think it's really important to highlight from what you've just said. Although you may feel in your journey, my dad passed away 6 years ago. Why am I still going through the motions of this, and why am I still feeling such raw pain when it was 6 years ago? I think to highlight that there is no you learn how to process, but you still sometimes and often get pulled back into that place of darkness. And I was talking to my mum actually last week about her friend, and her friend lost her partner over 20 years ago now, and she said the hardest year of losing her partner was the 17th year after he died.
That
and she
is
said
remarkable.
There was no rhyme or reason for it. It just, that year really hit her. Obviously, not thinking about the first year, obviously that was significantly hard as well. But she said that year in particular just was really, really difficult. And I think it's so important to highlight that you don't just get over it.
You adapt. but you have to, what I've found is that you have to really want to adapt. I think that part of the reason why it really hit me on this like 6th sort of anniversary time is because I've never been so present with my grief and my emotions.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's as you know, I was talking to I like go to talking therapy, and I was talking about it, and like she just like raised a point to say, like, you know, you don't have to have an answer for why you feel the way you do.
Yeah.
Like, you lost someone that you love so much.
Yeah.
When are you ever going to be told that there's an appropriate time to not talk about that and not be upset? And I was like, do you know what? True. You're so right.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads us into you, because you've got obviously a massive milestone coming up. How have you felt about it? Is it in the back of your mind? Any feelings?
What? Yeah, lots of feelings.
Really? What? Oh, I didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, no, it's I think last week I felt really numb, and you do go through periods of that, like, don't you? You just you can think about them and not feel sad, but not feel anything sometimes. Like, you know, you miss them and you love them, and they pop into your mind all the time throughout the day. But sometimes you just feel okay. And that was where I was at last week. This week, I am very aware that it's February on Sunday, and I think at the moment I'm just kind of going through the motions of like thinking about like this time last year. Sorry, let me get emotional.
Take your time.
Just thinking about that, like this time last year, I didn't know I had, you know, just over 2 weeks left with him, like, because of him dying unexpectedly. And I think that's so hard to process, because it's like, what was I even doing this time last year? I don't even think, the thing is, because I had that car crash, I didn't have a car, so like there was a bit of like a, you know, a 3 week or 4 week period or whatever that I didn't see my dad because we didn't have a car and life was busy, and obviously you don't see this round the corner.
No, of course.
So yeah, I think that's a lot to get my head round, and I've found it really hard today. Actually, I woke up and yeah, it just feels like it's like you look into your past and you know you've got this kind of doom, like,
approaching.
Yeah. And you had no idea that your life was literally about to change on that date. And I find that date follows me a lot. And obviously it would, because you're kind of like, your brain's looking for it, I guess. And it's almost like more significant than the birthday and things like that, isn't it? Like a death date. But I found, like, yes, I was at my work company event and there was a social and stuff, and there was the 9th of February up on the board for someone's, you know, starting the business. And then I went to the toilet, and the pub we were in was doing like a pizza night on the 9th of Feb, and it was just like, oh my god, like, stop reminding me of that day, which is obviously going to happen because it's so like close. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, I'm in a bit of a weird place, if I'm being completely honest, because I think, yeah, it's just like that constant reminder of time was slimming for me and my dad, and, well, not me, but my dad and our family and our bond and everything. And I just had no idea that, you know, he was going to be dying in a few weeks' time. Like, it's just surreal.
I guess that's the thing, like, that I can't relate to with sudden sort of passings, is that it's a different type of, like, not wishing that you did more. Obviously, I don't mean it like that. I mean in the sense you just said, you remember today that you didn't have a car for 3 weeks and you couldn't go over there.
Yeah.
And it's like all these, I can't imagine how much, like, you and obviously Hannah as well, and everyone that's gone through a sudden loss, replay these events. It must be torturous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry.
Thanks. No, it's such a good point though. Like, you, and I don't actually even acknowledge how much I replay that in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like, finding out and like telling my brother, and like that just replays on my mind probably daily. Like, just like the situation that I was in, because I think obviously you losing your dad, grief is painful for everyone in different ways, and like you'll have it of like, these were your, you know, your days where you were losing him and you had to see that progression of him becoming more poorly. I guess, like, for me, it's like, if I think about myself on the 8th of Feb, I was I was hungover. I remember that because it was my friend Beth's birthday. I'd been out on the piss all weekend. I was having fun. And yeah, it was that night that I found out. And like, I think it's just such a like quick change of your life there and then. Like, your life has completely just been torn apart. Like, your heart has been ripped out. Like, and it's so sudden, just like, okay, this is it now, that it's so much to kind of grasp your head around. So yeah, I think there is, at this point of time, every day when I wake up, there's that kind of replay of all the things again. And I keep, obviously we always catastrophize as grievers and as humans. I think it's kind of normal, but more so when you've gone through something. But I keep at the moment just, it's almost like my head's constantly giving me a plan B. Okay, but what if my mum dies? Who's going to look after my little brother? What happens if this happens? What happens? And I've always got like, okay, well, he'll come to my house and he'll live here. And like, and I sometimes get into a point where I'm like, I've like catastrophized so much that I've sold this house, I've bought a new one to like accommodate my whole family. And it's like, hang on a minute, pump the brakes. Like,
I need to
live in the present. Like, this isn't happening. But
you know, another thing that we don't talk about on the podcast, and I mean, for every griever, of course, because it happens in sort of like anticipatory and sudden. I would say arguably more with sudden. Obviously, I haven't experienced it, but I can imagine, is we don't talk about the trauma that we go through because it's not losing someone and missing someone. It's, for example, the trauma of seeing someone slowly die. Yeah. The trauma of, you know, I don't want to trigger you, because it's a trigger response of getting a phone call, or, you know, when you've spoken about, you know, Oscar and having to tell people, and these are all such traumatic events. I mean, you reference your car accident, that's a traumatic event in your life, and then I feel like when you're grieving, you're always looking for an answer that you're never going to get, in the sense of, how am I going to see this person again? I need to talk to them, blah, blah, blah. But we don't think about, actually, I've gone through a massively traumatic event that my body is going to carry the pain of, I'm going to carry the stress of for the rest of my life. And I think what you just described about constantly going over and thinking, it's just such a, I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I've experienced things. I mean, it's such a trauma response because you so desperately don't want to like let your guard down, because you're like, what if it happens again? It's happened to me before, why can't it happen again? And as you know, to echo what you just said, it completely shapes the rest of your life in one split moment, which of course again I can't relate to because my dad's passing was over a duration of time, but it must
still shapes your life,
of course, but it must make anniversaries just harder, because as you said, like, you look back on your life and you weren't doing meaningless things. But I mean, when you go back and you think, you know, what if I'd gone and like, you tell yourself that you should have been doing something that you would have never done. I should have taken Dad on a 5-star holiday and spent quality time without going on my phone or talking to anyone else, because that's what you're yearning for, because your brain will tell you things should have been different. And I wish that I could find comfort in something that doesn't exist.
It's such a weird one, because like, I don't know, I just find like, because your brain is constantly in overdrive, and I have been so tired this week. Like, I've been getting like 9 hours sleep in, and I've still woken up just like absolutely exhausted. And I think it's because you process so much without even thinking, and in your sleep, like in your dreams and stuff, you're constantly processing what's happened. And obviously we've spoken about like nightmares and dreams before, and like how they can be really confronting if that person's in them. But what I'm finding at the moment is, my dad's not been in any of my dreams, but I always find that I'm doing something, like there's some sort of like exercise that I've got to do to build something, or it definitely relates back to me kind of constantly searching for answers and constantly trying to, just process everything that I'm going through. What I have been finding helpful is I've started my grief course.
You have.
So I've started a course. I think I spoke about it like way back when I started. So basically I signed up in September, but I've not done anything about it until now. But I'm doing a course to become a holistic grief coach. And in that, it's all about basically learning your body, your cognitive, your spiritual impact from grief, and like the response to grief. So at the moment, my first module is just learning about the different responses, what actually grief, bereavement, and like, what's the other one? God, see, this is the thing, grief brain as well. Honestly, grief brain, brain fog, get it all the time.
Yeah.
Can't even think of the other one that I was meant to be talking about. But it just basically unpacks all of it and it explains it really clearly. And I found a quote the other day that just, I've been carrying it with me ever since, because it's just so good and it makes me feel so validated, and I think it will for everyone else. But it says, grief is not a problem to be solved, but a process to be honoured.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I just think, wow, like what a way of putting it, because we've spoken at the start about the fact that, you know, it catches you off guard even years and years and years, decades down the line. And it is that process to be honoured. And when it comes up in your life, you do need to give yourself space to really let yourself kind of process and digest how you're feeling. And just appreciate the fact that you have gone through that trauma in your life. And you'll always carry it with you. As we said, it just changes shape over the time.
I remember when you told me that quote, I was just like, I mean, you just said it's validating, but it is, because the last thing any griever wants to hear, and it is the most natural thing to say. I mean, I literally replay it all the time in my nightmares, saying it to you on the day after you found out, was time's a healer. And okay, time's a healer, but also the way that quote puts it is like, it's not a healer, you almost evolve, you carry it with you, and that is an honour, because it's a way that, like, you've got this permanent love. Like, one person has had an impact on your life enough to make you wallow and suffer and feel like you can't go on anymore because you haven't spoken to them or hugged them in a while. And that is so painfully, like, soul destroying, but also the most beautiful experience, because, you know, I've never felt an emotion more powerful than grief. Like, you know, everything else follows with, you know, depressive feelings and anxiety, which is just, you know, everyone knows how anxiety can almost feel like you're possessed, can't it?
Yeah.
You really feel that.
Out of body experience.
Grief is like, it's like an out of body, like, longing for someone that I genuinely think deep down everyone takes everyone for granted. Because why we're not built like humans. We're not built to process losing someone. Because I mean, everyone grew up in a household where you're like, oh, it doesn't bear thinking about, like, that sort of thing. Yeah. And then it happens. It's
especially
like,
in the Western community,
for real, yeah. Like, and we've got to say to ourselves, like, well, no, we actually have to bear thinking about it, because this is reality.
Yeah.
And yeah, to go back to the quote, I just think that is a beautiful way to put it, because it's something that's a lifelong struggle and journey. And as much as it's a struggle, it's honouring the person that you love so deeply, and always will. Always will.
It was also interesting to learn more about, like, the actual physical responses, because I think we spoke about it, like, way back when we started the pod, but, like, actually, like, the trauma responses you have. Obviously just spoke about brain fog. Like, I found when I first started, say it, here you go. When I first lost my dad, the brain fog was terrible. Like, I remember going back to work and just being like, I don't know what I'm doing. But in the last, like, week or so, with his, you know, the anniversary of his death nearing again, I can tell I'm going back into that. I sat at my laptop today and was thinking, what am I even doing? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Like, and I find, like, I forget words and stuff like that. And I think, again, it's because your brain is just like, I've got so much to handle right now. Like, one thing at a time. But also just, like, the actual physical pain you have. Yeah. You've just mentioned longing. Like, you feel that as an actual, like,
in your stomach.
Yeah, and, like, heartbreak. Like, it's almost like you do feel in your chest, like, that pain. It's so weird. And then obviously you've got you know, having sleepless nights and insomnia, and so there's so many physical things that I guess people don't really you know, give people grace for when you're going back to work, or when you're just trying to be a friend or anything in life, like trying to navigate through life. There is so many physical and mental things that come up when you've gone through grief, and it's not just like, you know, the trauma response of being sad.
Oh god!
But
If
it's
it
so
was
much
just
more.
crying, fair play, bring it
Yeah.
on. It ain't. Like, crying is such a like minuscule part of it.
Mm.
What else? Something else I really liked. The laptop's being booky. I know it's fine now. Just needed me to prompt it. Something else that I really liked. What I don't know if you have the quote to hand. Was the quote about the other one you told me?
Oh, something about like grief being a. Oh god, this is why I should have brought my book in, because this is not the day to be trying to remember quotes. Something about a doorway. Something about paths.
Oh, I remember. I don't know it word for word. I just remember that it was something about it shapes the way you listen to people.
Yeah, that was it. It was like grief isn't just like a learning experience, but it shapes the way you turn up for future like conversations, and the way you listen to people. Like, so true. I've not got it word for word there.
No, but it is, because we didn't plug the mics in, but we had a really good chat about how you just change the way you look at everyone, not even someone that's lost someone. You always find a reason to think, okay, I mean, not always, but I mean, giving people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, some people don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't make you feel bad for everyone. But for the most part, you always try and sort of think like, actually, I remember when I had a really bad day and I didn't want to talk to someone and I acted out of character and I didn't want to show up and I wanted to just shut myself away, or I had a short fuse. That's what I struggle with the most, is I get so frustrated with everything around me that I then end up carrying the weight of worry of being, I've upset everyone. But it's because, like, first and foremost, before anything else, like, your body will just go into a response of, I need to find a way to fix myself right now. And sometimes that is just being like, no one talk to me. I can't do work today. I can't step outside today. I can't smile at the neighbour today. Like, they're just little things. And I think once you've been through grief, you can notice when someone else is having a bad day more. As I said, not necessarily a griever.
Yeah.
It's such a valuable skill.
And
I guess
as humans, we all go through something, whether you've lost someone or not. Like, we've all got some sort of baggage in our life. And like you say, it does make you so much more empathetic. It allows you to put yourself in other people's shoes. And if you say hello to someone and they don't say hello back, or they seem a bit short with you, you can be like, okay, he's taking a step back. What's going on for them? Maybe they've, just found out that someone they know's passed away, or maybe someone's poorly. Or my little brother, I mean, he's only 15 in August, but he's always been such an empath since such a young age. But ever since his dad died, I mean, he's just so much more, and the emotional intelligence he has for a teenage boy is pretty incredible. I remember Mum saying the other day that the hill that I had a car crash on. I love how that's come up a lot today. Although I'm the one that keeps bringing it up, so
I mean,
no
you
shock.
did also have a car accident. Like, what is this? This is a safe place.
But the hill I had a car accident on is like notoriously bad for car accidents, because it's really windy, really dangerous. And Mum was driving up the hill with Oscar in the back, and basically this car like overtook on the corner, and my mum called them all the names under the sun, and she was like, what a bloody idiot, May's had a car crash here. And Oscar said, but they might be trying to get to hospital. And she was like, sorry, how old are you? Like, in the back?
Boy.
Yeah,
He's
but at like a young age, like, it puts stuff into perspective for you, and it makes you, it helps you acknowledge that other people are going through stuff, or potentially going through stuff, and you're not the only person in the world that's, struggling.
I think on that as well, it makes you realise that, like, heavily, people respond to bad days so differently.
Yeah.
Everyone is different, and I think that it's really helped me realise that as well, because I used to, like everyone, I mean, I used to set expectations for how other people should behave, because I wouldn't do that, that sort of thing. And I think now I'm like, well, I can probably imagine why someone would act that way, because I mean, I've done some very questionable things while I've, since grieving especially, like, because as I said a minute ago, like, you are in this sort of desperate scramble to find what works for you in that moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, you'll just run through walls and not care about what you've left behind. Like, empathy. Why can't I say empathy as well? Big it up.
Yeah,
Love empathy.
be more empathetic.
But everyone really should. Everyone
Be kind.
should. If there's one thing you hear from today's episode, it's that like kindness. It's easier to be kind than it is to be a bastard. Like, just keep it kind. You don't know how much just even suppressing a thought about someone's actions can just change the scope of their day and yours.
Yeah.
Carrying anger is not good. Letting anger out is good, as long as it's not at someone who's not to blame.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Very true.
Me, the angriest hormonal girl I've ever met.
No. Shut up. We're all angry sometimes, especially hangry. But if you need to go to one of those rooms where you smash up a load of shit, do it, guys.
They should have a grief workshop for that.
Yeah, maybe we'll start.
And then
one
everyone just sits
day.
on the floor at the end crying.
Maybe when we really take off, we'll have our own
good grief smash room. And smash burgers. How's with love it?
That sounds great. But on that note,
yeah. Watch this space.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks as always, guys, for listening to us ramble. I feel like that was lighter, you know.
I do as well. I feel
It's
like I've
always
got
good.
I was going to say spring in my step, but I can't be asked to move. I probably do.
Spring in my sit.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope you have a good week, guys. Actually, next time we've got another special guest on.
We got another chatty girl. One of our favourite chatty girl.
Our favourite chatty girl. Yeah, but that sounds like Sue's.
Oh yeah.
Not Sue's.
Our behind the scenes very, very chatty girl.
My sister-in-law, Kat, is coming to join us on the pod, and she's going to give a really interesting perspective of someone who's a griever herself, because she's lost actually a lot of people in her life, bless her. But her friends, particularly her friend Al and myself and you, have lost, a significant person. So yeah, just giving a bit of a perspective of what it's like to have to hold your friends up when they're going through something so tragic. We'll leave you on that, and we'll let Kat do the talking next week.
We will, yeah.
But,
she's a good one.
Yeah. Hope you have a great week, guys.
Love ya.
Thank you. Bye.